Hello, everybody. I am having internet issues, apparently. We are just now finding out. Great, which is great. This is great timing for internet issues. Great timing. Well, everybody, hello. Thank you for joining us for the 19th hole. It is Masters Week, my friends. Masters Week. The green jacket, the epic start to the major season in golf. I have with me tonight two people who know golf way more than me. My co-hosts, Conor Coughlin and Bo McBrayer, the king of the hot sauce and the king of the DFS. And with us, we have another person who most certainly knows more about golf than me, Miss Kelly Singh. Kelly, how are you tonight?
I'm lovely, thank you.
That hot toddy better kick in.
Hot toddy. It's like my Phoebe voice with this when she gets the sexy singing voice.
Yeah, the sultry smoky voice.
So, guys,
allergies, but
the best Masters ever. There's no such thing. They're all amazing.
Every single one.
Every single one.
Well, unless you ask Craig, and then he says, of course, the movie Master and Commander. If you're not familiar, Russell Crowe. I've never actually seen it. Honestly, probably never will. So
uncultured swine.
Well, you can call me what you want, but I like comedies, man. All right. Speaking of comedy, that hat, Bo.
Can you tell it's mine?
Oh, definitely. It looks just your size. It's perfect.
Yeah, if I tip it just this angle, it looks kind of normal.
Kelly, I love that hat. Did you get it at Augusta?
No, Ian Poulter has like these limited edition things he puts out from his garage. So this was one of his garage items. So it's kind of fun.
That's awesome.
It was really quite difficult.
Well, we're all coming with a little bit of Masters theme. I've got the Masters hat. Connor's got some green on him, and Bo's green jacket is in the laundry. So, what can you do?
This shirt is much smaller than it was last year.
That seems to be the theme of the night, too. As we were in the pre-show, I was talking about how, I've been feeling fat for a while now, but you throw some plaid on and just jump on camera, it really adds about 100 pounds.
I don't know what happened to this shirt, but all of a sudden, it's like almost like a tank top sleeved. I put it on time. I'm like, what is happening? My arms got
the sun's out, man. The sun's out.
Sun's
Do
out.
I need to undo my clothes too? Like, hey guys, my shirt doesn't fit.
Well, she took down her ponytail pre-show. That was already exhilarating.
All right, guys, we've got an awesome show for you tonight. As you may have guessed, we're going to talk about the Masters, and we'll probably touch on it briefly. That Tiger's playing. Yes. I'm stoked. I couldn't
be more excited,
especially because I think that if he's playing, it means he believes he has a chance to win, and if he believes he has a chance to win, he has a chance to win. I may or may not have put a straight money line bet on Tiger to win it all today.
I wonder how many millions of people are feeling the same way about donating to the casinos this week.
Yeah.
That
number's going to slide.
Sure, I got it at plus 5,000, so
that's not bad. 50 to 1 is great.
Yep, nope, I'll take it. So, all right. First things first, guys. We always have a drink.
Yeah,
Connor
it's time to drink.
Connor's going to make us what's called an Azalea. Connor,
Azalea,
my friend, Azalea. I say things how I want. I say things how I want to say.
You put the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
It's a hard
it's
word.
Very important for Augusta.
Yeah, it's the official cocktail of the Masters.
And the azaleas are in bloom. That's the whole deal.
I can vouch for
How can you not be romantic about the
world?
Masters?
And they are definitely in bloom.
I feel like an idiot now. I know what an azalea is. So there you go.
It's a beautiful flower at the Masters. And just the artistry of Augusta National is I've never been on the grounds, but my boss was at the Masters a few years ago, and he's as much of a golf junkie as anyone. He said that it was the most beautiful place he'd ever been in his life, and he's been all around the world. And he's like, there's not even a blade of grass or one of those needles of pine straw out of place. They're completely perfect. And so how can you not be romantic about the Masters? It's just art. It's pure art. It's love.
Well, Augusta is one of the most storied courses
on
the PGA Tour. I mean, really outside of like old St. Andrews.
The course.
It's the course. I worked at a country club where Pete Coors of Coors Brewing Company was a member. He was a member at Augusta as well.
I always forget that you worked at that country club.
Weren't your family members there, Connor?
My family was members there, absolutely.
I've run into a lot of people who were members there in my adult life that I'm now like friends with and whatnot. It's interesting.
So the other day I found out a really interesting fact about Augusta, and then I'll go into the cocktail. But
perfect.
So apparently I think he was a groundskeeper. He was some staff function, committed suicide, and then was cremated, and they buried his ashes somewhere at Augusta National. And the only people that know are the people that have been the president over the last, however long.
Wow.
My grandpa's ashes were sprinkled in front of the Turf Paradise scoreboard.
That's awesome. And that's a story you tell your grandkids, and they tell their grandkids, and so on. It's funny.
All right.
That's great, though.
I'm sorry to interrupt the cocktail.
You guys want to hear about this Azalea or Azalea?
Connor, I'll allow it. I set myself up for it.
All right, guys. So start this cocktail off with 2 ounces of either gin or vodka. I'm using a gin from Castle and Key, which kind of an interesting backstory on them. They do quarterly releases of gin, so everyone's a little bit different. And they were doing that to kind of sustain themselves while the whiskey that they are now released was kind of aging and going through that process. And the other cool thing about that property is it was the last property owned by Colonel E.H. Taylor prior to his demise. So, and I've been lucky enough to go to that distillery, and it's super cool. Like you get out near, like there's some train tracks that run out near the back of the facility. And in giant block yellow print, it says property of Colonel Taylor. And it's just like, this is cool. This is super cool, like a piece of history. So I went with gin. You can definitely go with vodka. We're going to do about 2 ounces of that. Then we're going to do about 1.5 ounces or so of fresh squeezed lemon juice. And we're going to do about 2 ounces of pineapple juice, whatever variety you want. And then just about a spoonful of some grenadine. You throw that in a shaker.
Yeah, shake it.
Gonna get that nice and chilled and frothy, and then we're gonna strain that over ice, and it's gonna turn this really pretty pink color. And then, and that is your Azalea.
Nice.
Very
lemon
pretty.
Twist. That's cute. So you did a little different than me. I mean, it came out the same, but I think it's just the order. And I think I used a little too much lemon juice because mine tastes like it's made like an atomic warhead, but it's really good. Like I like it that way. A little extra sour, but I use vodka.
An alcoholic atomic warhead sounds fantastic. Sounds like a lot of trouble. Sounds like waking up in the gutter, but
well, it's
delicious.
Definitely going to drink a little bit sour, but yeah, it shouldn't be that sour.
No, it's sweet and sour. It's a beautiful cocktail mix. I just went a little heavy on the lemon, but I splashed the grenadine on top, so it kind of adds that cool pink smoke effect at the end. But other than that, great.
Yeah, no, and it's a relatively easy drink to make. I can definitely tell you this is like a spring, summer type of vibe. Like these go down way too easy. So
yeah.
And if you're going to be careful.
I remember last year I made the mistake of making an entire gallon pitcher of Azalea. And turns out I'm the only one, A, watching golf this weekend, and B, drinking a vodka cocktail because my wife doesn't drink vodka. So I had a gallon of Azalea and 4 days to watch golf by myself. So let's just say I did pretty well at DFS from what I remember.
From what I remember.
You won all of the money that week.
All of
speaking of DFS, guys, we've got a lot to talk about with the Masters. So I think it's time to get to it. What do you think?
Sounds good to me. So yeah, no.
The club as well. This would be a wrestling class.
So I started talking, forgot we had a drop. So really on point tonight.
I mean, for you to start it off, because again, I'm having lagging issues.
No, you're good, man. Actually, you look fine. But anyways, yeah, no secret. We're at Augusta National down in Georgia. Par 72, about 7,475 yards. As Nate talked about earlier, I couldn't be more excited that Tiger sounds like he's going to be playing this week, which is really, really, really great news for a guy that we thought was maybe going to lose a leg a year ago. So
right.
So anybody who's ever seen golf on TV has probably watched at least some of this tournament. Beautiful course, nice and tight fairways, tree lined, lots of pine. You're gonna have a lot of, and I know how much Kelly loves this. You're gonna have a lot of undulation and uneven lies throughout the course. And I think
how many flat spots are on this course, Connor? How many flat spots are on this course? 0?
I would say 0. Yeah,
0.
Other than maybe a tee box or 2. Yeah. But I think the biggest thing this week, honestly, is really course IQ, course history. You're probably not going to see a first timer, a debutante out here that's gonna bring this home. This is a course that really requires you know where to hit the ball, and it's a lot of target golf. It truly is, and there's very, very fine lines between landing 5 feet from the pin and landing 50 feet from the pin. So there's a lot to take into account, and guys that maybe just don't have as much knowledge, probably outside of getting incredibly lucky, are probably not going to be in the top 10, top 20. You're gonna, or even make the cut. It's just like hard to see that happening. Typically, you're going to have a lot of wind in conditions like that from time to time here. We pulled the weather report. As of right now, it doesn't look like it's going to be windy at all. It's going to be very, very tame. What's up?
I would just like to say that the tee times came out about 15, 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago, maybe. And the weather for Friday says strong winds for the late round, which is Tiger's tee time on Friday. So I just wanted to throw that out there. It can always change.
Connor, you're wrong. What weather app are you using?
Friday.
What weather app is Connor using? We need to know.
I used the Google machine. I didn't use any fancy weather app. But I will say that as the general conditions are supposed to be lighter winds, it looks like maybe Kelly's seen an updated weather report.
Yes.
So that's good to know, because that the wind really can play havoc at this course a little bit. It whips around pretty good. So if Friday is now calling for some wind, that's probably something to think about.
For the late round guys.
Yeah, especially if you're playing Showdown in DraftKings, you might want to avoid the late round mix. So far, they've gotten a lot of moisture down there. The course, at least a lot of the early reports are that the ball's not rolling out as much. Greens are really receptive. Obviously, as the day goes on, that it dries out some. But I think with minimal wind, and it's actually like the temperatures seem to be relatively mild too. So I think we may have a softer course than typical. What else do I know? Hideki won this. We've got one of those super iconic moments last year when his caddy bowed at the end of the final round, which was super, super cool.
Goosebumps already. There's gonna be lots of goosebumps this weekend. I'm already feeling
one of my favorite memories of the Masters. It's so cool.
Oh.
And then I think it was DJ before that in the weird November Masters. Thanks, COVID. So that's just kind of quick as I can notes about the course. I think all of us kind of agree, like there are some stats we looked at, but this really is a lot about course history and about course knowledge. So the biggest things I really looked at were 3-putt avoidance. Surprisingly here, this is a 50% higher rate of 3-putting than any other course on the tour, which I thought was kind of an interesting thing. It popped up.
You know why, Connor? Because these greens are nasty and they're not fair. They're tiny little greens with they're all like little tiny potato chips out there, and you can't get a read on them. And they roll as true as any greens on tour, but breeding them is damn near impossible, and they're lightning fast. They're rolling at 14 on the stimp, even when they're receptive. That's the problem. Is you have to have perfect pace, and then good luck with the line.
And that's I mean, getting back to that point, I expected it to be a big swing, but I mean, that's a considerable
Huge.
So I looked at that. I definitely looked at shots gained overall, so tee to green. And then I specifically kind of cued in on some of the shorter 150 to 175 type of ranges for second shot. So just a lot of ball striking really was what I was looking at. But again, I think it's going to be somebody who's done well here.
Shot maker's paradise. If you have guys that can think their way around the course, a lot of times what correlates well with the Masters is the Players Championship, because TPC Sawgrass is the same kind of course. Even though it's shorter and it has more water hazards, you still have tight landing areas. You still have players needing to plan their round one shot at a time, and then the one shot ahead of time. Masters is exactly like that, except the margin for error is so much thinner at Augusta than it is at Sawgrass. That's what I like to see is, okay, who did well at the Players? Cameron Smith. Dominant performance. One of the best performances we've seen all season. That's where I kind of go first, and then, of course, past performance, like you said, and then recent form. Recent form has a lot to do with how people play at Augusta, because if you're scuffling coming into a course like that, you're going to get buried.
It's a very fair point.
What do you think, Kelly?
I looked at the same things that you do. Obviously, I think we all do. But I have one player that's not one, or actually, I don't even know if you've even played this course. I'm talking about Burns. I don't know if we're diving in, but he's on my list. He's on my list. When we talk about shots gained, well, Burns is right now tends to shoot low on Thursdays and even Fridays. I believe he's 5th in scoring on Thursdays. So he is going to get out there fast, but that doesn't mean he's going to hold the lead. We all know that. So it's just something to think about for your DFS lineup, I think, is if you, I don't know if I've ever even carried 6 players all the way through, but we have,
it's rare
Burns,
for Connor too. It's really rare.
I won money last week with 5, but we have Burns. If he does well Thursday and even Thursday and Friday, then you're looking at some high scoring, I think. So that's somebody I'm taking a chance on, outside of course history and all of that jazz.
Yeah, he's playing really well, and he rates out really well, like in all the stuff we look at. I mean, everything you just said is spot on. And
right.
I mean, if he does catch lightning in a bottle a little bit and comes out and just takes to the course, I mean, he's definitely live to compete. I mean, it's just, he's that kind of player right now. So
right.
I don't hate that.
If people are thinking about Burns outside of DFS, they might want to put I put $5 down on him right now, and it will make you a boatload if you put it in now. But don't wait. Don't put it in live, because he's going to shoot low on Thursday, and then it's going to cost you a lot more money.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I actually, when you talk about the criteria, like we're talking about course history, recent form, total strokes gained tee to green, 3-putt avoidance, you don't have to line all those categories up. I mean, there's only going to be a handful of guys out of the 92 in this field that are going to line up with all those categories well in how you break it down. It's all about how you weight it. And really, I don't weight the course history maybe quite as heavy as Connor does. So Burns does pop up in my model for the same reasons you discussed. I even have a couple guys that line up everywhere except for form at the Masters. Like I have a guy in my player pool that lines up perfectly with everything, except he plays like crap at Augusta. And I'm just hoping that his recent form says, hey, this is his year to take a step forward.
I had to take my glasses off. My eyes were getting sweaty with this hat on.
I took my hat off too, because I'm afraid my wife's going to come and beat me for wearing her hat.
That would be fantastic content.
Yes, it would.
The scarier thing is she might beat him later on when he's wearing her lipstick because it goes with that hat so well.
I think she takes more offense to the hat.
So kicking it off then, guys over 10K.
Yes,
I think probably one of my favorite plays this week over 10K. I have a couple, but I think my favorite one is probably Dustin Johnson. I think, and I think that's gonna be pretty popular everywhere. But he's starting to round into form. This is a course that historically he does well at, and it's a major. So I think Dustin Johnson's pedigree is prime for this.
He might actually have an expression on his face this week.
One of confusion.
Yeah, my plus 10K guy is Colin Morikawa. Shocker. Shout out NorCal, Colin Morikawa, the Cal Bear, 10-2 on DraftKings. Just one of the best pure ball strikers on tour. He's the best iron player. He's the best approach player. He's the best total driver of the golf ball. And he comes out here, and if his putter gets hot, he's going to be making birdies when everybody else is trying to salvage pars because he'll be closer to the hole. This is not, even though it's 7,500 yards, you do get quite a bit of rollout in those fairways. And if you hit your landing spots, which Morikawa is known to do, I don't see any reason why he won't be towards the top. And he's the least chalky option over 10K. And I really love that for him because he's got every bit the chops.
Do we think that he's going to figure out his short game, though? I mean, we're going on several weeks now where he just is abysmal around the green, on the green.
It worries me.
Yeah,
it worries me.
It should, to be honest. Like, I like Colin Morikawa too, but this is not some place to get right with your short game.
Well, he has played here twice. He made the cut both times. It was 44th his first time out, and then 18th last year. He doesn't play bad here.
No,
you're not wrong. His short game's never been his strength. It's always been from tee to green. He's been lights out, and then if he gets hot around the greens, then he wins. So I'm not too scared. I'm thinking that he's the kind of guy with enough upside to make up for his lack of everything else.
What do you think, Kelly?
Well, I foolishly built mine on FanDuel.
Oh, that's okay. I did too.
And there are 3 that come in over 10K on my roster, but you also get 10K more for your salary. But if we're just looking at FanDuel, even Scheffler and I believe Cantlay both, well, Cantlay might be 9 something, but I have Scheffler and Cantlay up there. And on DraftKings, Burns is also up there in the 10K range. So it made it a little more difficult to make my build, but actually not really. I'm really pleased with my full build, but Scheffler, he's on fire. I just don't know how we vote against him. Rahm seems to be populating to the top every single week, and every single week he's disappointed. I don't see this being any different. I don't have Rahm anywhere in any of my bets either.
It's tough right now because you talk about recent form, and nobody's hotter than Scotty. He's won 3 of his last 5 tournaments. Number 1 player in the world now over Rahm. Why is that? Because Rahm's not playing well and Scotty is. And guess who's number 2? Colin Morikawa. We're talking about guys that are coming into this tournament red hot, and Rahm isn't one of them. And Scotty's 11K on DK, and he's worth every penny because you're saying, what better guy to come in to Augusta on a raging heater? And you can't slow a guy down like that who's got the all-around game to play here. That's what you want at Augusta, is the guy who doesn't have weaknesses.
Right. The only problem I think with Scheffler is his driving accuracy, and accuracy is something that you really do need at Augusta. And he's under 60%, over 50%. Let's call it 55. He's somewhere in that range, and it's just 500 isn't going to cut it. So.
Yeah, that's a concern.
He has to
just
step
like,
it up.
Morikawa's short game, you're picking something out where pretty much you need one of these guys to play above their weaknesses for 4 straight rounds to win here. And that's why I like the DJ call, because we've seen it time and time again where the guy doesn't have he's kind of like Morikawa, except he's just a longer hitter, where around the greens he looks completely clueless, like Hovland. Hovland's another great all-around player, but you get him on the fringe or in a greenside bunker, and he is completely useless. And even if he figures that out for 4 days, you're looking at a Masters champion. So you have to kind of look past the one or two blemishes in their game, because they have the talent to put it together for 4 rounds and win the damn thing.
Is anybody else fading Hovland though? I'm fading Hovland. I am not playing Hovland.
It's pretty smart because hitting these greens is a challenge, and his approach game is great. But if he misses these greens, there's not really a long rough here, but try chipping on a green that's like a dance floor shaped like a potato chip. It's just not easy. And Hovland can't even do it at flat courses. So I am concerned if he misses greens that he'll be completely out of the mix.
I think your take on his short game is aggressive. Like to be honest, he even last year when he's
210th in strokes gained around the green. That's not good.
I don't over what time period. Unimportant. He's
season.
a better short game player than he was last year, and he managed to T21 here. So, and I think he's improved all other aspects of his game. So the only thing I'll say with Hovland is I think he's going to be low owned, and at 10-1, you can build a pretty balanced lineup. I'm not saying that if you're playing high stakes DFS that you should take a gamble on Hovland, but if you're doing 20 lineup builds or something, I think going 2-3, lineups with Hovland as your starting point, I think that gives you a good leverage on the field.
I have 3 Hovland lineups out of 20, so keep your voice down.
I'm just a very I don't know. I just listen to my gut and my heart so much when I do these things.
Yeah, how did that work out last week with your witchcraft? JJ Spawn? Well. Who the hell is JJ Spawn? I know JJ Spawn. Really well. He's the guy that I pretty much flip a coin on whether or not he's going to make the cut on a weekly basis. And she goes, yeah, I feel JJ Spawn this week. And the dude motherfucking wins.
Yeah, unreal.
Yeah. And I doubled all of my bets. I even went on one really big one. Not talking like thousands, but for me, it was a lot of money on a DFS lineup. And I wish I would have listened to my own advice when I had said on a broadcast, don't put Matsuyama in any of your lineups. We don't want a Paul Casey incident like I had the week prior. And sure enough, that's who I put in my lineup was Matsuyama, and he was out. But I still ended up killing it with the rest of my lineup, all above 20 almost all. So it was great. But yeah, so I listened to the moral of the story is I do listen to my gut and my heart a lot when I go into these things, and I just do not like Dustin Johnson. I don't like him. I don't like his vibe. Ugh. And I do like Morikawa. Hookers and blow is his vibe. I just don't. Yeah. It does not vibe.
So. He's a flatliner. He needs a rush to get anything out of anything.
God.
Do you think when he's enjoying the hookers and blow that he even cracks a smile, or do you think he's just
no?
He's flatline, nothing.
It's just that's kind of where I go with this. And with Morikawa, I do like him. I think he has a good energy, but when he makes a mistake, it shows all over his face.
It breaks his heart. It breaks his little NorCal heart.
He is fragile. So it worries me. I'm not playing
he's part
him.
Of generation participation ribbon. So, things don't go his way. And he's out of his head.
But he's my little baby angel from NorCal. So I still love him. I still love his ability to make birdies, which is important here. That's why Tigers won here. That's why Tigers won here 5 times. It's the same reason Tiger dominated the Players, and at Bay Hill is you par the par 3s and par 4s with ease, like it's an automatic thing, and then you just massacre the par 5s. And if you massacre the par 5s at Augusta, they're very gettable. That you just have to avoid Race Creek, avoid the pond on 15, and you can win the Masters if you're playing par golf on all the other holes. You get to the par 5s and you make birdie and eagle, you're going to put a green jacket on. That's what Tiger Woods made a career out of, is just kill the par fives and break even everywhere else. And that's the kind of player that I'm looking for this week. And that's why I'm all over Cam Smith. Like inside 100 yards, who's better in the world than Cam Smith?
Yeah,
Nobody.
Let's get down to the 9K, because the only other thing I had to say in the 10K is, I'm playing Rory. I got to be there.
Rory's going to miss the cut this week.
Another letdown city. Let down.
Yeah, talk about recent form. He has none.
No.
He's due, though. He's due.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's always
Grand
due.
Slam
On this show, he's always due.
Yeah.
Well, according to Connor.
Hey, it's a major. I got to at least throw him out there. I will have a lineup or two of Rory. But getting on to Cam Smith. Let's hear it, both.
The blonde mustachio mulleted Aussie is primed to build upon his success at the Players, where he was just brass balls on 17 going to the right of the pin on accident, but still paid off. And those are the kinds of shots you have to make at Augusta pretty much on every hole. Is you have a tiny landing area off the tee, you have a tiny landing area on the green, and then you have a lot of those shorter approach shots, those 125, 150, and on par fives, if you're not going for it, you're going to have a lot of wedges in your hands. And I don't think there's anybody in the world better with a short iron in his hand than Cam Smith. And that's the kind of player that is going to have a really good chance to win this tournament.
The question is, will he have second breakfast?
11
Is that going to go over everybody's
afternoon
head?
tea, dinner, supper. Yeah,
So
he should have second
question,
breakfast.
My question, slightly more serious.
Anytime there's a Lord of the Rings reference,
Slightly more serious.
Doesn't it bother you at all? Like Cam Smith, has an uncanny ability to find the water if it's lurking anywhere near a green. He can put it in it with the best of them, and I enjoy that he attacks pins. But even when he was in competition the other, I think it was last weekend before. I mean, he's just going balls out, going for the pin, and it worries me that he may be a little too aggressive at times for this course. And so that would be my only thought is maybe
what I love is that he won the Players and went on vacation. He hasn't played since the Players.
So I like Jordan Spieth at 98 a lot better than I like Cam Smith at 99.
Ooh, I don't know about better.
And I was blowing you guys up over the weekend saying if Spieth finds that putter, watch out, because he was striking the living piss out of the ball. He looked great, but his short game, which is never the problem, was just not firing. And then he shows up and has a great Sunday. So I think he's ready.
That great Sunday raised some eyebrows. Like my little radar came up and I was like, uh-oh, Jordan Spieth alert, because he's been so close at Augusta so many times. That talk about due. The guy that's played well here 5 straight years and hasn't put it together for the green jacket since his first win a long time ago. And here you go with Jordan Spieth coming in 23rd in driving distance. That's never been his game. It was always like, oh, if Jordan Spieth could find the green eventually, he makes everything. And now it's like he's bombing it down there with DeChambeau, except it's in the fairway. And he's still got his off short game still like top 40 in the world. It's like, oh man, if Jordan Spieth could get back to being the best putter in the world, he'd win everything. And I think he's kind of hitting that form right at the right time. Like you said, it's a hot Sunday, right on time. I like Spieth too. I don't like him more than Cam Smith though. Like I have a good amount of lineups of both of them. I want both of them in my lineup at the same time. If I'm making top 10 bets, they're both going to be in them. That's just the way it is both guys are blazing hot. They're both exactly what this course deserves because they're great shot makers, especially around the greens. They're kind of the same player, to be honest. They're both really similar players. Why not both?
And you could definitely do that. And there is some theory, like some validity to skipping the whole 10K and starting in the 9. I mean, there is a lot of quality players in the 9s that you really, if you start in the 10s, 10 and above, you're only going to be able to maybe do one guy in the 9s. You start in the 9s, you might be able to do 3, maybe even maybe even.
And if you start in the 9s, you're avoiding having to plug in a sub 7K guy, and that's what I'm all about this week.
Except, is there a
Oh.
sub 7K guy? Because
There is.
Tom Hoagie.
I have
No.
Matt Fitzpatrick at 7.7 on DraftKings.
Yep.
4 top 10s this season.
Mhm.
Well-rounded player, 5th in shots gained tee to green. So I am really high on Fitzpatrick. And if anybody cares about my intuition, I'm feeling super good about Matt Fitzpatrick.
I second that. He was in my article as one of my top value. He's a no gimme tap in value this week.
Right,
Matthew Fitzpatrick. What's that?
I said I'll ride with you guys on that. I like Fitzpatrick
and
too.
And for 300 more, you might as well throw in Tyrrell Hatton, the Englishman, at 8,000 flat. Talk about recent form again. Just the guy's rolling out top 10s every week. He's just nails, a competitor. Like, he's as fiery as they get. He's early John Rahm before he had a kid. He's just on edge all the time. Tyrrell Hatton's either going to make 5 birdies in a row, or he's going to throw his whole club bag in Race Creek this week. And so at 8,000, you're looking for a guy to make the cut. I think he'll make the cut easily, and then with the upside to burn.
I mean, well, we're not on values yet. Oh wait, I have another one. Henley, 7.8. So Henley leads in strokes gained, but also does nothing with that. So it's like,
right. Well, Henley, okay. I think is 100 and something than putting, like strokes gained putting. So yeah, that's where he gets there. But you gotta want to put the ball in the hole. And
he's in my lineup.
He's good. I like him. He'll make birdies.
Surprisingly, at least over the last 36 rounds or so, I'm just kind of looking at numbers right now. Like, surprisingly, he's not bad. It's not as bad at putting as he typically is. He's in the lower half of the field for sure, and he's actually in the top 30 for bogey avoidance, which I wouldn't have.
Ooh, that is nice.
Given what a bad putter he is. So yeah, I don't hate that. There is somebody that we skipped over though that I think we should talk about up in the 9s real quick, and I think at least 2 out of the 3 of us are definitely on Will Zalatoris.
I was just gonna say his name.
Ooh.
You found the Zalatoris. Congratulations.
It does exist.
It does exist.
And this is why we come on at 9:30 Eastern.
Hey, the kids need to know that the Zalatoris exists.
Fair enough.
Don't let your uncle tell you any different.
So see, what you do is I'm just kidding.
Anybody who wants to tune in for that, you can catch our After Dark show.
Yeah. How to find the Will Zalatoris.
On our Patreon, $29.99. That's it.
Or $9,200 on DraftKings.
Or $9,200 on DraftKings.
Paywall on OnlyFriends. Or OnlyFans. I always say OnlyFriends.
Yeah, that's the offshoot site for when you're not that serious.
The black market one.
I like you, but I don't like you.
Yeah, I keep my pants on the OnlyFriends site.
OnlyFriends just takes you out to a movie or a concert. It doesn't expect anything afterwards.
Not even that. You get a coffee. Maybe even just drive through the Starbucks. So to spit this out, Will Zalatoris debuted last year at the Masters. Decided he'd just show up and finish runner-up. So that's kind of neat. And then
yeah, there's your first time success story.
Yeah, well, and like I said, there are people that have competed, but the biggest thing with Zalatoris that I think we all really like is just as a broad general statement. I mean, he's got to be in the top 5 in the PGA right now, in terms of all around ball striking. The guy just absolutely smashes the ball dead square. I mean, it's just got a beautiful. Pretty much
his shot tracers are majestic.
Yeah. Just a stripe show, dude. So I like that. He's a decent putter. He's had his ups and downs. He's not great. But I did look at, like I said, we looked at the 3-putt avoidance, and he's in that, he's in the bottom or top 30 in the field for that as well. So if you're a 3-putt avoidance is there, and we know that that's kind of already documented as being a killer at this course, I like his odds that even if he's 2-putting his way around the course, he's striping the ball, getting close. We can take pars all day to Bo's point, and this guy's got the heat to get on all of the par fives in 2.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's kind of the closest thing we have to a Tiger style player, where
Stop.
he's just. No, I'm not saying he's Tiger. I'm saying that his style of play is very similar, a lot like Rory. Rory's the same style of player, where their strength is ball striking. Nobody's come close to being as great of an iron player all time as Tiger Woods. But you look at who the best iron players on tour are, the ones that get around with their ball striking, Zalatoris, Morikawa, all those guys are in that same kind of style of play where they're aggressive off the tee by hitting fairways and getting enough length to put a short iron in their hands, and then they're just lights out lethal with those irons. And Zalatoris is definitely at the top of that list. And at 9,200 this week, that is a steal. And he's coming in at like 6% projected rostership. I'm all over Will Zalatoris. I got like 50% of my lineups, so 10 out of 20 this week. Oh, she's doubtful. She's dubious.
You're like making me like rethink a few things because I do not. I find him to be volatile, and I don't like that. But then again, here I am saying he's volatile and I don't like that. But I also have Cantlay, and he's 9.5 on DraftKings. I just looked that up, and talk about volatile also. He's not been a steady player. He was like reliable, and then I don't know what happened. He just
fell off.
I don't know.
He's the kind of personality that reminds me of DJ a little bit, where he's icy cold, ice water in his veins, and the only pictures you see of Cantlay outside of golf or on the beach with a bunch of honeys. Cantlay might be the same cut from the same cloth. I'm not saying he is, but I'm not saying he isn't.
I don't know.
Is he attached though? Because
I'd rather party with Cantlay because there might be some left over for me.
DJ's just gross because he's attached and he does all that stuff. And you know that Sir Wayne Gretzky is not happy about this upcoming nuptial or whatever.
I'm sure Paulina doesn't make it easy on Wayne either.
Oh, Wayne's probably stoked. He's going to play in every celebrity pro-am with Dustin Johnson the rest of his life.
I honestly think he doesn't like him. I don't think he likes him. I don't think he thinks that he's good enough for his little girl, which is true. This is a whole tangent we could go on. Days of Our Lives.
We could.
Hey, now, don't knock Days of Our Lives. I loved that shit.
Any daughter of the great one has higher standards than a DJ. So, you could do better than the best golfer in the world.
Well, of course.
You could do better than the guy that's got hookers and blow and falls down the stairs and breaks his back or whatever.
That was only unfortunate because I had already had him locked in for that day, and he burned me.
You should expect that type of behavior from somebody that participates in his lifestyle. So we touched on it very, very briefly, but you did say Tiger Woods, and
who?
It's a guy named Tiger.
Eldrick Woods.
Eldrick. So, I think it's kind of a big question right now: is to play him or not to play him? And I'm fully in the camp of I'm playing him. If he's teeing it up, it's because he thinks he can win, and if he thinks he can win, he's dangerous. I'm playing him.
So, Connor, I have to ask you about form at Augusta. I mean, how many times has he even won this damn thing? What, 4, 5 times?
Five.
That's it.
But five times over 25 years. Yeah.
Dude, and he's just Tiger Woods at 70% is better than most of this field.
And that's the important part.
No,
what you're saying right there.
Yes, he is. And the Tiger fact, he was at 80% in 2019 and took the damn thing. And these are the
No.
same cast of characters this year. There is nobody new from 2019 to this year, maybe other than Zalatoris, who played for the first time last year. All these other guys played in 2019, and they got their ass smoked by a 44-year-old guy
what?
coming off 8 back surgeries.
You guys
Tiger's
are
the
like,
GOAT.
Mhm.
The reason why Tiger's the GOAT is because when he's on the course, his presence handicaps the field by at least 3 strokes. The scoring average of his opponents goes up by his mere presence. It doesn't matter how good he plays.
He's the smartest player in the field if he is in the field every single time. It's been that way for a very long time.
His career winning percentage is 1 in 5.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's not the GOAT. I'm not a Tiger hater. What I'm saying is that
we need to reel ourselves back in this week.
Yeah, that's very 1997 of you. Let's reel it back in and talk about. He just did a press conference before. I just saw a clip of it. I don't think it was live before I came in here, and he was like, "Well, yeah, my mobility is not great. Yeah, I don't have my full range of motion." So I think money plays endorsements, television, future endorsements, future appearances all play a role in his appearance here because Augusta is very important to Tiger. It is very nostalgic. I think that he is playing to say, I'm back, I'm here, I can do this. Is he going to do well? I really would love to see him do well. Honestly, I swear to you, I would. 1997 Kelly is all about it. But I'm trying to be realistic here and also realize he is a 40? He's older than
46.
I am, I think.
He's 46. Yeah. He's the same
40.
age Jack was when he won in 86.
Okay.
But Jack also didn't almost lose his leg in a car accident.
Right. And also be on abundance of whatever else all over the last few years and all over whoever else the last few years. And so there's a lot to take in.
It's anybody.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not stuck in 1997. I'm stuck in 2019 because that was the most majestic display of championship golf I've ever seen in my life.
I agree.
Embracing his new family, not Papa Earl, not Conchita, but his young family after taking it down at 44 years old or 43 years old, after he was left for dead after all those back surgeries and knee surgeries. After we've seen him drag himself through every obstacle, and he had no chance in 2019. Remember this. The same thing you're saying now is the same thing we said about Tiger Woods in 2019 before the tournament started. That's all I'm saying. This reminds me a lot.
Okay.
This reminds me a lot.
Do we have to make him a national hero, though?
He already is. He will never not be.
He will never not be, which actually to me feels a little bit sad. I'm going to be honest with you right now because this guy has messed up a lot.
Who hasn't? Who hasn't? just because what we did wrong wasn't on TV doesn't mean we're any different.
I have never been high on painkillers and drove down the street with my significant other swinging a golf club at me and crash into a mailbox.
He's never been to NorCal, guys.
Safe there, but I'm not a Tiger hater. I'm just saying we put him on this pedestal. And he loves it. He eats it up for breakfast.
His ego is massive. All the things that I'm waxing poetic about have nothing to do with. Once he leaves the course, I can care less.
Can we?
Let's let him win. If he wins, I'm like all about it. I'll be out there. Whoop, whoop,
That's all I care about.
Tiger
on the course.
I'm looking forward to the ensuing fight on Twitter between you two. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh, it's gonna be epic.
So
let's get back to the rest of. I'm gonna
tell you real quick about my take on Tiger. He's not gonna show up if he's not capable of competing because he's not gonna prove people right. And so I feel good that if he's teeing it up, he's able to compete. And at $8,500, which is really what we're here to talk about, $8,500. That's a good value for what he's going to be able to produce for you. And I think that there'll be some apprehension about playing him too. So I don't know. You'll have the casuals that are going to play him, but the people that are generating like serious lineups are probably going to avoid Tiger. And those are the people that you're competing against. So I think there's some merit to playing Tiger Woods if he tees it up. But I do have apprehensions if we're being real. So in that 8K, the other guy that I actually like again this week is Shane Lowry. I'm going to keep riding that train. I think he's got the toolkit to do well here.
Yep.
So, and he's 8,800 too. So he's right there in that range where people are probably going to go up to Daniel Berger or Louis Oosthuizen and even just based on some of the previous, just based on overall feel about those two players. Berger especially rates out well, even though he's never done much here.
Because his team doesn't match up with the course. That's like the anti-Daniel Berger course.
And then the other guy is Kelly's favorite, Taylor Gooch.
Taylor Gooch
At 8,700, right there around Sam Burns. So I think from that 8,800 down to 8,500 where Tiger is, I think there's a good cluster of guys right there that are going to help win some tournaments. So.
I do like Gooch, not just because his name is fun to say. My value pick, if we want to talk deep into the values, my value pick this week is going to be Max Homa. It has been Max Homa before in previous weeks, and he did not let me down. I don't know how I feel about the Masters, but at 7-1, when you have a pretty strong roster ahead of Max Homa, it's easily squeezed right in there at DraftKings. He's 8-7 for you on FanDuel, which is still the value pick because of the $10,000 gap between FanDuel and DraftKings. So I really like Max Homa as that shit. Who do I put in that last spot? Because 8 of 10 cuts, and his points per game are, at least on FanDuel, they're showing it at 80 plus points per game. So you can't really go wrong at somebody at 7-1 who could potentially bring you in 80 points per game. I don't know if you've ever looked at that, but anybody else at 7-1 is bringing you like 60, 65 points per game if you're lucky.
Right. I do like Max Homa as well in general. He scares me at this course though, because he's had 2 starts and he's never made the cut. And that was both tournaments.
That means nobody's gonna have him.
No, and that's kind of where I
was leverage play.
I think he scares me, but I like him in general, and I think to your point, it's good leverage play. I don't see it, especially the streak that he's on of making cuts.
That's what I was kind of gonna go for right there. Is the data is showing that this is a good fit for your roster. That's why I slid him in there. I feel good about it. I feel really good about it, actually. I feel great about my roster this week.
Yeah, I mean, me and the guys at Team Rise or Fall absolutely annihilated the Valero Texas Open. Like the little golden microphones logo was all over the top of the leaderboard in PGA DFS contests on all the sites. It was just a massacre.
Oh, yeah, I must have missed that.
Yeah, massacre.
Did anybody have JJ Spawn?
Only the ones that listened to Kelly and Phoenix. And it was awesome to see. JJ Spawn was in a lot of the player pools, and that was just part of good metrics. Like the tools that we have there are pretty awesome. I love it. I'm going to shoot my shot here. Promo code BOG at $10 off your first payment if you're signing up for the premium service to get you the PGA Data Hub. But we have a lot of strategies this week is just limiting your player pool. Don't go balls to the wall with 50 different guys because there's only 92 in the field. Get 15, 20 guys that you absolutely love, and then sprinkle in a couple of values like Max Homa, like Webb Simpson. Webb Simpson's one of my favorite guys at 7,500. This guy never, ever finishes out of the top 40 in this tournament. and nobody ever plays him in DFS. And it blows my mind that this guy's a guaranteed made cut at $7,500 on DraftKings. And he's always going to be somewhere around the top of the leaderboard. He's not really going to threaten to win, but really, like Kelly said earlier, it's hard to get 6 out of 6 making the cut. But if you do, you're making big money.
Yeah.
Especially if you have JJ Spawn and 6 out of 6, then you're making coin. You're making moolah. But that's the key here is make 6 out of 6 or at least 5 out of 6 and have some top 5, top 10 finishes in your lineup. Webb Simpson's my value guy, 7,500.
Who's your let's do one sub 6 pick a piece and our outright winner, and let's we'll get on out of here.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So my sub 6 is gonna be we all know I'm a sucker for Kevin Kisner and Tom Hoagie, and I'm right in between the two of them. I think I'm gonna go Kiz this week though.
It's got to be Kiz. Kiz is so much better than Hoagie right now.
Hoagie's right now real good though.
He is, yeah. I don't
No, go ahead. I'm going Westwood. Not sorry.
Oh.
I'm torn between Woodland and Westwood.
I'd go Woodland.
I think I'm going Woodland. Okay.
Woodland's got
Woodland, Gary Woodland. We're going with Gary Woodland, says the hot toddy and the high noon. And we're going Gary Woodland at 6'9". So he's at the top end.
Noise.
All right, let's see. 6,000 or 7,000 under. Give me Christian Bezuidenhout, the South African. Christian Bezuidenhout, 10 out of 12 cuts this year. That's the kind of player I'm looking at. It's like I don't want Hoagie, who's going to be a coin flip, to make the cut. He's going to do really well when he's playing well, but I don't count on a guy who's playing ice cold right now to come into Augusta and do anything at all. JJ Spawn's down there 6,700. I don't see any reason why he can't do something this week. So I'll have him, those two, and then Sepp Straka. Sepp Straka at the Honda, we saw what he did on the back nine. That's not a dissimilar course to Augusta either. That's the kind of course where Shopmaker's Paradise, again, the players, the Honda, these courses that are tricky that you have to think your way around. Sepp Straka is a smart golfer. He played golf at Georgia. They don't have dumb golfers coming out of Georgia. I'm just saying they all they do is produce talent that thinks their way around the courses.
Okay.
All right, guys.
I like Straka too. So my outright winner.
Let's get winners and let's say goodbye to everybody.
We're having way too much fun to say goodbye to everybody.
Way too much fun. Sure.
Nate's having all of the fun.
I'm having all of the fun. I just get to listen to you guys and like learn and learn and learn. Okay, outright winners, Connor.
I don't completely trust this guy, but he just looked too hot. I'm going Jordan Spieth.
Okay.
So hot.
Kelly.
I'm going outside of the box, totally outside of the box, which is my specialty.
She's good at this.
I'm going with Fitzpatrick.
Ooh, yeah.
Spicy.
I would love if that happened. God.
All right, Bo.
Fitzpatrick.
All right, my outright winner, Cameron Smith.
All right.
Aussie. Oi, oi, oi.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on the 19th hole. I want to thank Kelly, our esteemed guest and guest host, and cheers. Thanks for coming on. Yeah. I want to remind everybody, if you want to find Kelly on Twitter and her other content, she is with the Commish FFP. She is with Woodward Sports, more specifically Woodward Bets, Club Fantasy FFL, right here at In Between Media. Thank you, Kelly, so much. For Connor, Bo, myself, and Kelly, everybody have a great night. And you know what? Go win some money on the Masters because that's why we're here. Good night, everybody.
Cheers, guys.